Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on, man? It is your boy right here, MMA Reloaded. We are live and direct for another episode, man. Episode 54 of MMA Reloaded on the mic. And folks, it is so great and it feels so great to be back on your devices, on your screens for the first time in just over a month, man. A lot of shit has been going down personally, professionally, all this shit. But you know what? That's all a closed door. And tonight I open another door and I open it right back, yeah, to what we do, man. And what we do is we talk real, we never lie, cheat, steal. MMA Reloaded. Tonight, folks, I get joined by the Almighty Fighting Championship flyweight champion and also the flyweight champion of UKFC, man, Shawon Choudhary. Of course, folks, I'm very close with that group at Ace UK MMA. Hosted the likes of Sammy Huck, Aaron Givens, Shawon himself, and of course, led by one of the best pros in Europe today, a veteran in Shaj Huck. So, folks, it's such a great pleasure to have Shawon on the show. Tonight, folks, we're going to do the particulars. We're going to waste no time out here tonight, man. Tonight, I'm feeling froggy. And tonight, I'm going to jump. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. And of course, expecting the arrival of Almighty FC flyweight champion and UK FC flyweight champion Shawon Choudhary fighting out the Ace MMA UK. Man, tonight we're coming off the heels of a fantastic UFC 276. We're coming off the heels of PFL. We're coming off the heels of Bellator. Man, so many shocks to the system in mixed martial arts as of late. We're talking about championship changes. We're talking about championship defenses. We're talking about matchups, future matchups, everything but the kitchen sink. So let's get Shawon on, folks. Let's do the business tonight. Hey, Shawon.
You okay, bro?
Yeah, how are you, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Thank you for asking.
Hey, man, no problem, bro. Thank you, and thank you for taking the time out, man. Of course, for coming on the show right now. We're live and direct, MMA Reloaded on the mic with Almighty FC and UKFC flyweight champion Shawon Choudhary. My guy, you're going into probably one of your most anticipated matchups in August with Joe Fields. Of course, man, I want to touch on that first.
Yeah.
It was before we get into business, man. Of course, the trash talk, the whole joint, man, has been going down this one, bro. And man, it's rightfully so, because like I understand that there is a bit of history with you and him coming into this one, man. So talk to me about this one, man, and why there is that sort of back and forth between.
Yeah, I will. To be fair, I didn't expect any of the trash talkers. Obviously, we've met before. We've kind of seen each other at like backstage at fight shows. It's all been nice, all been civil. Hi, hello, smiles. And then just all of a sudden, I see all this kicking off on Instagram after I win my UKFC title. I'm like, what the hell's kicking off here? And I'm like, I'm gonna roll with it. Like, I mean, if that's how it's gonna be, I'll fire back. And it's all just fun and games, really.
It is, man. It is. It's all funny, because what really matters is going into the cage and doing the business, and that's exactly what you're going to be doing. And you're walking in there as a champion, so of course you have it to lose. And I think what trash talk does is it gets in your, the guy's trying to get in your mind rather than take you away from the fight, right?
Yeah. Like, I mean, guys can try to do all that. None of that ever affects me. I'm like, at the end of the day, it's just a little bit of fun before we actually go and actually do the business.
That's it, man. Of course, we're less than 2 months away now. How do you feel coming into this fight, and how do you feel, physically? Of course, 7-1 now in your career, man. You're on a healthy win streak, 3 fights. And how do you feel coming into this, man?
Yeah, man. It's just, everything's going on. Like, I'm gonna be going into that cage a brand new fighter. Like, no one's gonna recognize who it is. Like, I'm not gonna look anything like I have fought in the past. I'm gonna be a completely evolved fighter. But that's my aim. Every time I step in the cage, I just continually aim to better myself. It's not like I don't want to fight as the same fight as I did before. I want to constantly improve, but that's my goal every time.
Does that obviously have something to do with you still being an amateur? You're still on that curve, to professional, and so you can mix your style up, you can innovate that and find what really suits you in it. So I guess when you're professional, where fighters are professional, they're already set in their base and they're set in what they want to do. But as an amateur, you can still mix it up and mix and match, find what really suits you. Right? So yeah, does that have a lot to do with it? So
yeah, that's what amateur is all about. Like, I mean, I've been training about 4.5, nearly 5 years now, and it's like you see these pros, they're set in stone with how they are because they've been training for like 15 years, 20 years. So I'm still like, if you think about it, I'm still really early on in my fight career. I'm still learning about myself. I'm still learning what I like, about what suits me, what suits my body type. So I mean, that's what amateur is really all about, and that's all I enjoy doing. That I enjoy finding new techniques that work for me, and incorporating it into my game, and rather than removing tools out of my toolbox, increasing the tools and just using the ones that are more efficient for me.
That's it. And I was gonna actually ask you this later, but I might as well touch on it now if we're speaking stylistically. Is that most of your wins have come by submission, and I think all it is that something you favor a lot in your fight stylistically, is going for a submission, or because you're well rounded, right? I watch the fights, of course I sponsor the show, so I watch the fights, and you're a long rangy guy, but most of your wins go by submission, man. Well, is that something you like to finish it off?
It's weird, like, I mean, like, it's something that just started ending up happening. Like, from when I first started fighting, my first 3 fights were all finishes, all by sub, and it's like, it's nothing I would ever train for. Like, I wouldn't train to, I'm going in to sub this guy. Even in my past few fights, like the finishes I've had, I wasn't going in, I need to sub this guy, and like, that wasn't the game plan. It's something that just ends up happening when I end up fighting. I somehow end up finding a sub, and because obviously you've seen the way I fight. I like breaking guys down and then just getting better as the fight goes on. Like you see me start to take over in every fight as the fight goes on. And then I think just because of the way I've been fighting with people, if guys start to break down and kind of as soon as I give them a way out, they take it, and that way out usually is by finding a sub.
You know, I love that style, man. You know, I'm a traditional guy like that. You know, because I think that if you're a smart guy and you're a smart fighter, yeah, that's the way you should be, man. Because you know, I think if you fight stupid, you're gonna get finished.
Yeah.
You know, so you shouldn't be worried about pleasing others. It's all about pleasing yourself and how you feel comfortable finishing a fight or fighting a fight. You know, and so I think when I was watching a interview with him, and he had an interview with a Prospect MMA podcast, man, and he goes in that interview that because most of your wins come by submission, that you don't like standing and engaging. You know,
No, that has nothing to do with it. It's more just that's just where that's how the fights end up happening. I mean, I'm not gonna try and strike with someone who might be better at that than me. I'm gonna always look for the best possible way to victory, regardless of if that's grappling, I'll grapple with them. If that's striking, I'll strike with them. If it's wrestling, I'll wrestle with them. I'm always gonna look for the best way to victory using my skill set.
100%, 100%. You know, and when you talk about your skill set, and you talk about where you train, you talk about stylists, you train at the Ace MMA, man, a gym that I'm actually very close with, man. You know, of course, I talked with, I had Sammy on my podcast.
Yeah.
You know, I'm very close with Shaj as well. So training at that gym, you know, man, and it's filled with rising stars.
Yeah.
You know, Aaron Givens, yourself. You know, man, how do you feel training there, and how did it all end? How did it all start for you? First of all, training at Ace MMA and training combat sport.
Yeah, well, the way I got into combat sports was because I was just out with one of my friends one day, and they just told me about this seminar that was going on at the local community center, and then it was like an MMA seminar, and then I just went down, and literally after watching it, obviously they had like little activities, we got involved, and then literally since then I've just been in love with the sport. I trained as much as I could, and then kind of the numbers dropped at the community center, but the guy who's running it knew about Shaj and kind of had trained at Ace before, and he told me that if you really do love the sport and you really want to be something in the sport, Ace is the place to be. Shaj is the coach you want to be training under, and I think that's where you also like training under Shaj has evolved my game, my mentality so much. Like you said it yourself, I am quite a smart fighter, and you see, I think a lot of that has come from Shaj because you see Shaj how smart he is, how he breaks guys down regardless of their physical attributes, their technical skills, and you even saw it in the last fight. You just see Shaj constantly break guys down, and you don't realize how smart these guys actually are until you're under their tutelage, and then it just like blows my mind.
So with Shaj in your corner, you know, and when you're in fights, you know, of course, he's obviously shouting instruction to you on the side. But of course, does the adrenaline take over sometimes when you're in a fight, you know, and he's trying to shout instructions to you? How does that work with you, man? What's going through your mind? Are you hearing that, or are you focused?
It's really weird. Like in all my fights, like a lot of the time I can't hear the crowd, I can't hear anything else. I just literally hear my corner. It's kind of like everything gets blocked out. It's weird, like even though it's so loud, like everyone's screaming, everyone's chanting, all I can hear is literally Shad, Sham, and Jordan screaming the instructions. And one thing I remember as well, like from my debut, I remember I was in on a takedown, and then it was in my debut, and I was quite tired. It was like the first or second round, and I just remember I was in a double leg takedown, and I just remember my coach doing a countdown: 3, 2, 1, now go. And then literally as he said go, that's when I got the takedown, and it's literally just little stuff like that. Like and then I was on the other side of the cage as well. Yeah, I could still hear my corner.
but you can hear theirs. You know what really like what I see a lot in fights, yeah, and especially in UK shows because like obviously the cage is not as big, so it's quite
Yeah,
compact space. Yeah. So what I see always is you can hear their corner as well, and he can hear yours.
yeah,
So it's like, so obviously, that's gotta really like piss you off sometimes in the fence.
yeah.
Ah,
Because you've got to
yeah,
try and like it's either do you try and listen to their corner or do you try and filter them out or but that's something I prepare for beforehand. Like I'll have it in my head.
yeah,
Like I prefer like these weeks before, like even from now, I'll be doing my mental training and I'll be kind of deciding now whether or not I'm gonna try and fill out their corner or if I'm gonna listen. And I'll have decided that weeks before I even enter the cage, which is why it doesn't really affect me when I'm in there. And you see it in the way the way I enter the cage, the way I'm smiling. It's because I've got it all how I feel and how I'm gonna be approaching the fight. I've all mentally mapped it out before I've even entered.
yeah. No, so when you talk about that mentality, yeah, and of course, as an amateur, I think now being an amateur a lot like it's on that similar level. It's on that similar level. When you talk about amateur and professional, of course,
Yeah,
as an amateur you don't get the incentives, but the competition level is crazy.
yeah,
You know,
100%.
it's nuts. Yeah, like you literally see hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of fighters. You got that Four Nations tournament going on.
Yeah,
You got the you got the UK scene. You got so many different UK promotion champions, this, that, and the other. When you look at that and you look at that scene as a whole, how do you feel about you know that you need to remain and you need to be able to keep standing out the way you are, and especially as a champion? Do you feel that some pressure, or that you're working, that your work ethic will show for itself?
yeah. Honestly, it's like because my I've always wanted to be the best, but it was like I've never tried to kind of outshine other guys. I've always just had my head down, just work hard, and then all this attention. That's not really something I was aiming for. My intention was just to be the best, and then as
Right.
I've just gone on and got the belt, it's just like all this attention just been brought on me, and I'll embrace it. I mean, I'm not gonna. I like it's quite nice. It's nice being known as one of the best in the UK. But my intention is to be known as the best in the UK, to be the best in the UK. So, and by beating Joe Fields is one of the ways I get to that.
Of course, and you've had big fights, man. Since your debut, they've been big names. They've
Yeah,
been competitive guys. Connor Walsh was one of the guys, and you beat him. He was a former champ as well.
yeah,
When you won the belt, and then when you became the two promotion champ, how did that feel? Because obviously that must have been vindicated. That must have been like that blue tick next to your
yeah,
name was verified. That must have felt just like that.
yeah. No, 100%. It was literally such a surreal feeling, especially after because like just because I remember Shad had talked to us. I think this was 2 years ago. He literally said, in 2 years' time, if he said this to me, Sammy, and Aaron, if you keep working the way you do, keep working hard, keep your head down, follow the plan, and in 2 years, 2 to 3 years time, watch the progression, watch how you're all going to be seen up there with the top guys. Like, and it's literally how you see it. You see me with everyone sees me with the top guys in the flyweight division. Everyone sees Sammy and Aaron as the top guys in the featherweight division. And literally, it is all down to Shad's coach, Sham, and Jordan's coaching. So when I did end up winning, it was a surreal feeling. But at the same time, we all kind of expected it because we trust our coaches, all three of us, we trust our coaches so much where we just knew as long as we follow the plan, as long as we follow their instructions, work hard, it will happen. So when it did happen, it was just like, we're finally here. We've now broke through. Now's the time to constantly keep building on it. We don't take our foot off the gas.
That's it. I mean, having that mentor, but that also goes with having the loyalty in your gym as well.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think if guys keep changing gyms, Yeah, it sort of messes with your mind a little bit. You know,
Yeah,
the coach doesn't know you. The fighters don't know you. It's different
yeah,
guys. It's hostile. You know. But at Ace, because it's family run, yeah, literally, like you got Shad, you got Sammy, yeah, you got Niam, you got
yeah,
the whole guys there, you know, bro. It's like because of that family environment, that's gonna make you feel a lot more comfortable, you know, bro. And when you look at that, Shawon, bro, there's got to be some competitiveness as well in there, right? Because
yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah. But
come
we're
on,
always
man.
trying to one up each other. Like, I mean, like even the way we banter with each other, the way we spar, we're always constantly trying to one up each other. But it's friendly competition to where we're also trying to become better so we can be better spot partners for each other, so we can all help each other elevate, because we don't want to be in a circle where we're just kind of plateauing. We want to be a gym where everyone's constantly helping each other improve. Everyone is constantly improving, which then in turn also helps everyone else improve,
No, yeah,
and we're constantly just increasing our levels.
yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, that's what it's all about, man. If you're not taking a step forward, man, you're taking a step back. Yeah,
Yeah, especially
that's
in a
not what you
sport like
want.
this.
Exactly, exactly, bro. You know, you go and say if you know now 8 fights in your career, yeah, in your amateur career, man, now going to be 9 against Joe Field. When do you think is that right time to go and take that next step to professional?
Honestly, I still feel like I've got quite a bit of time, because like
Yeah,
I see the level difference between, because Shaj is kind of one of the benchmarks thing. Obviously, Shaj is a world class flyweight. Like, he is one of the best flyweights in the world. So obviously measuring myself against him isn't completely realistic, because obviously, like, I mean, if I constantly measure myself against him, I'm never gonna end up turning pro. Because,
yeah,
but I do also kind of use his judgment and kind of how I kind of spar, how I train, how I feel like when I'm doing my training with him as a benchmark. And it's more as when Shaj feels like I'm at that level, that's when I'll turn pro. Because I have full trust in my coaches, and I'm not fussed about rushing it. I'm still young and I've got loads of time. So even if it's another year, another 2, 3 years, regardless, I I'll turn pro at the right time, and I feel like that's when Shad will let me know, because he is at that level where he'll know as well. Like, kind of, yeah, it's time to turn pro.
no, 100%. I think I think you are just kicking the door in now, man, in your career, man. I think with that intelligence, obviously it's gonna pay off, and that
Yeah,
work pays off in the end, man. And I think in August, it's gonna show a lot. It's probably one of your biggest title defenses today, and it's gonna be. I can't wait to see that fight, man.
yeah. I mean, even Ray was literally saying it backstage at the other fight. He goes, "It's literally the biggest amateur fight he's had on Almighty," and it is that for a reason, because me and Joe are two high level amateurs on the scene, and we've both been tearing it up. And honestly, I'll give my respect to it's respect where it's due. I'll give it to him. He is very good, but that's what excites me about this fight. That's why this fight is so highly anticipated, because we're both so good. It's just like only one guy can come out the winner, and I'm confident that will be me.
It's one of those things, where like nowadays you have guys in the amateur scene who are like, 4-0 going up against a guy who's like 2 wins with 28 losses.
Yeah,
Yeah, but to me that's some bullshit because you want the guy who is 4-0 going up with another guy who's 4-0
yeah,
because what it's all about. You want to have a show. You want to put on a show. Yeah, you might want the cheap highlight reel, but you want a guy who's putting on a show. You know what I'm saying? And I
yeah.
think that fight is nuts, man.
That's
Joe's a great fighter. So is yourself. That flyweight division is crazy. Literally crazy.
that's what I'm saying. Like, out the division right now is stacked. I mean, it's literally like one after another. Like, you look at the top, and even if you look at the although Tapology rankings are quite bullshit, I'll be honest. But literally, even if you look at the top 10 guys, we're all such high level guys, and that's what excites me because it's literally, I know there's so many more fights out there. There's so many more opportunities for me to just gain experience, become better, and especially with this fight literally does decide kind of who is the number one in the UK right now. Because I've seen a lot of people think it's Joe, a lot of people think it's me. So it's literally, let's decide, let's find out who is number one.
So this proves it. This settles it.
Yeah.
August. Man. Ladies and gentlemen, tune in August, man. This is going to be a 1-0 of a fight, man. Double champ, Shawon Choudhary, Joe Field. Man, I wish you all the best of luck, Shawon, man.
Thank you, bro.
Your career, and I can't wait to see you progress. And thank you so much, man, for taking the time out to come on the show today.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.